Hey guys, it's Surya and today is Monday, which means it's time for another tutorial. Today I'm going to be teaching you the gear ball, which is the same thing as a gear cube. I don't have a gear cube, I have a Gear Cube Xtreme, just to show you how it looks. Basically just looks like this, except on all sides, not just the opposite two. That's how it looks. I don't really have one, I have these. It's basically the same, so let's get into how to solve it. So first let's see how the gear ball works exactly. So it seems really confusing. I mean, we have these lines to denote sides, but as soon as we turn it in this weird way, we have these two parts moving at different rates, and then we have these things getting all misaligned. So it looks really confusing and whatnot. But as you start playing around with it, you'll start noticing that no matter what you do, these side layers always move twice. You can never make them move once. If you ever make them move once, this middle layer only moves half a turn and then you get stuck. You can't move it anymore. Why? Because these pieces are edge pieces and now they're stuck where a center is supposed to be. So you have to finish the move, which makes it a double move. So it's this that makes the gear ball look deceptively difficult. Now this part of it is the equivalent of jumbling a 3x3 but with only double moves. It makes things really easy because now each corner can only be jumbled with the side opposite to it. For example, this piece over here can only go there. It can only move twice. Or it could go there. It can't go there. It cannot go there. It can't go anywhere else. There are very few places it can go to. Right? So that actually makes a lot of things quite easier. And the second thing is, whenever you want to move this twice, you would have to move this 4 times. And since there are 4 sides to this gear ball, that's the equivalent of doing nothing at all. So if we ever want to move the middle layer twice, we just need to move this 4 times. Let's see that. 1, 2, and 3, 4. So that moves this twice without affecting these. So these two are actually pretty important concepts in the gear ball. And now that we know them, let's get into how to solve this. And by the way, just one more thing to mention. The gear ball is actually the exact same as a gear cube, which basically looks like this, but cannot move around like this. This is actually a Gear Cube Xtreme that I have. I don't have a normal gear cube because they're both the same. Basically, a gear cube has these gears on the side, but on all sides. So even if you were to do this, it would move around in a weird way like this. So both of them actually work the same way and they have the exact same tutorial. So now that we know that, let's get into how to solve this. So let's start with the first layer. Now we can pick any color we want since, there's no specific way to start. But I usually tend to pick a color that really just stands out. So it's really easy to find it. In the beginning, the cube's all really messed up and stuff. So you need to get some pieces into their places before things start to make sense. So I just pick a color that really stands out, and that varies from cube to cube. In most of them, it's the color white, but there's no white here. In this case, it's the color yellow. So let's just pick yellow. So here, the fun thing about this is you don't need a yellow center to start with. We actually start with the corners here. So we just need to match 2 corners first. So let's just pick any one yellow corner, say this one. We don't need the center to be here really, it's just there. So let's pick this one. This is a yellow, red and green. Now we need to match it with either a yellow and green or a yellow and red. I'm just going to do yellow and green here, but you can do whatever you want. So let's search for a yellow and green piece. Is it this one? No. Now, since we know that these pieces can only go on the opposite side, we don't need to check on the other sides. Just check on the bottom layer now. Let's check here. We have 2 pieces here. Is this it? Yes, it is. This is yellow and green. So this piece needs to be over here. Now we could do that. We could just rotate this, but that would also move this. So we need a different way of bringing this over there. And what other way is there? Well, if this piece needs to get here, it could be coming from here, right? If you move this layer, the piece that's over here comes here. So we need to find a way to get this piece over there. Now how do we do that? By moving this layer twice. So that's 1, 2. It's technically a single move, but I just consider it 2 since that makes everything easier to visualize. So now that we have this yellow and green piece here, we can just move this layer twice and align them. Let's do that. And they're aligned. And now the fun thing about the gear cube is that once we align these two, or in this case the gear ball, once we align these two, even the other two get aligned. That's pretty cool, huh? So now we don't need to go around aligning the rest either. So these two are already aligned. Now we just need to find a way to join these and these. So we have two yellows here, two yellows here. So how do we bring these over there? Well, we can just turn this layer twice and bring this up. So they're always aligned like this. So that makes the first four corners really simple. Now that we've done that, let's go into solving the yellow edges. So when you look at any edge, you need to know which way it's facing, right? I mean, if you take the 3x3, you need to know which side is yellow and which side is red in this case. Now that's easy to tell over here since it can either be this way or flipped. But it's slightly more complicated here since these pieces can twist around. So you never know which side is which. But we have a simple way around that. We just look at these tiny little pieces above and below the gear. These pieces actually tell us the truth. So since we have this over here, which is an orange and a pinkish color, we don't really know which way it faces, but looking at these we can tell that it's orange on this side and pink on this side. Pink, purple, same thing. Yeah, so now that we know that, let's get into how to solve these. So the first situation we can get is where both the edges are on the bottom layer. You don't really get a situation where both the edges are separate from each other, because once you solve the corners, the opposite edges are usually together. So yeah, the first situation is where these edges are on the opposite side. You know that because these yellows are here, not over here. I'll get into what to do if they're here in a minute. So we have a yellow and a red over here, and it needs to go right there on the opposite side. It needs to be flipped around like this. Now we could just turn this way, but that kind of ruins the corners, right? But remember what I explained earlier. If you want this to move twice, we just need to move this 4 times, which does nothing to it. So if we move this 4 times, that actually brings these pieces into place. But over here they're flipped, they're in their wrong places. This is a yellow and a purple edge and a yellow and red side. So let's just undo that. So first we need to align them correctly. So since this is a yellow and a red, it needs to be away from the yellow and red side, since it's going to move twice. We want it to move over here, not here. So let's move it away. We just do that by rotating the bottom layer twice. Now that we've done that, let's just move this side 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. That solves this. And by doing that, we have solved this as well. So that's what to do if it's over there. If we have edges that are already in the yellow layer but exchanged, this is the yellow and a purple, this is yellow and red, they're both exchanged, we just remove them using the process I explained earlier by pretending that these 2 pieces need to go there. Let's just do that. And now let's orient them correctly and put them in their place. That solves it. Now let's get into what to do if these edges are over here, not on the bottom layer. That's slightly more tricky, so let's go over that. So in this situation, we have these edges which have their yellow side in front of the yellow layer. So it's not on the bottom layer, it's in front. So in that situation, I mean, the exact steps you do are a little bit long. So I've just compiled everything into one long algorithm. So I'm just going to explain that now. So let's go over that. So the first thing you do is you bring the edge in front of where it needs to go. So this is the wrong edge. It's a white and a blue edge. And it shouldn't be going there. It should be going on the other side. So let's just move this layer twice. So this piece needs to go right there. So here's the algorithm for it. When I say right side clockwise twice, I just mean this. Move this side layer twice. That moves this once. That just makes everything more easy for me. So that's what it means. So let's get into it. So right side clockwise twice. Right side bottom layer, which is down clockwise twice. Right side clockwise twice. Down anti-clockwise twice, and right side anti-clockwise twice. So that fixes it. As you can see, they're all solved. Now these centers aren't solved, but that's really fine. We'll get into that later. So now that we've done this, you can see that even the opposite layer is finished. So that's great. Now let's get into the final step, which is fixing the rest of the stuff. But technically it's not the final step, it's probably the second last step. Yeah, so let's get into it. So now that we've solved the top and the bottom layer, we just need to solve this middle stuff. So first let's align each side to its bottom pieces. Let's basically align all of its corners. So here we can see that we have these two red corners that are on the opposite side as these two. So let's just move this side twice and align them. That actually aligns all of them. And then let's see what situation we've got. Now sometimes when you do that, you'll see that you've solved the gear cube. I mean, these edges are not oriented correctly, but that's a problem for the last step. Other than that, everything seems fine. All the centers are in their right places, corners are in the right places, edges are in the right places. So you can get that sometimes. If you ever get that, you can just basically skip this step and go on to the next one. But sometimes you can have a situation that looks like this, where your centers aren't, four of the centers aren't in their right places, and 4 of the edges are switched. Kind of looks like this. You've got these 2 bands over here on opposite sides, and you've got these 2 dots here. I know it's not too clear because of yellow and orange and all that, but yeah, this is the yellow center on the orange side and an orange center on the yellow side, and we've got these 2 bands here that have exchanged. So in this situation, here's what you do. You keep these 2 dots on the top and bottom, and you keep these 2 bands on the left and the right, and you do this algorithm. Right side clockwise twice, up clockwise 4 times, 1 2 3 4, right side anti-clockwise twice, and that's it. That's literally it. That solves it, as you can see. Since we fixed all of this, now we can go into the last step, which is twisting these edges correctly. So when orienting these edges correctly, here's what we do. We first solve all the edges in this direction, this entire set of edges. Then we do all of these, and then we do all of these. So we go one set at a time, okay? So let's start with these. Now we start by seeing which way the edges need to twist. They all need to twist in the same way, by the way. So let's see, does this need to move clockwise or anti-clockwise? So this yellow needs to be there, and this red needs to be there, which means this needs to move clockwise. And if this needs to move clockwise, then so do the rest. So here's what you do when these 4 need to move clockwise. Right anti-clockwise twice, and you do that again. 3 and 4. You just do that 4 times, and that solves them. Let's go into the next one. So this is basically right anti-clockwise twice, like 4 times. So right anti-clockwise 8 times overall. Let's go into this one. Does this need to move clockwise or anti-clockwise? Here it needs to move anti-clockwise. So here's what you do when that's the case. You go right clockwise 8 times. So let's do that. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. That solves this as well. These need to move clockwise, so right side anti-clockwise 8 times. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. And that's literally it. Congratulations, you've solved the gear ball. If you have any questions regarding this or the gear cube, please let me know in the comments, and hope you enjoyed the video.